We did it last week, we're doing it again this week. We've got the starter set. This time, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. And believe it or not, we've got the second one as well. We're going to be reviewing both of these head to head. Seeing as there are a lot of starter sets, we don't want to get too crazy with how many we review. So let's go ahead and see which one of these you might want to buy specifically, because they are really similar, I'm not going to lie, y'all. So first things first, we're going to talk about what's in these packages. And believe it or not, it's the exact same thing, so I'm only going to go through it once. We've got some dice, only 6 of them, which, as we've covered before, is an absolute failure. 7 or nothing. But no, in all reality, this is like 60 cents worth of stuff, and this is a $25 box with tax and everything else included. So 5 more. I mean sets. After that, of course, you've got the adventure book, and it's a really well put together adventure book. It looks very nice. You've got a lot of stat blocks all at the end. Something that might be cooler in the future, though, is if they had small stat blocks right next to where you actually need the monsters, just so you don't have to go flipping through the book all the time. Of course, you're going to get the starter set rule book, and this is pretty easy. It's nothing like the Rick and Morty starter set rule book, which actually had a little bit of flavor, made it fun, and made you want to read the rules. Well, this is pretty basic. I can't really say much else other than that. It tells you the rules and it tells you them in kind of a robotic voice. And what I meant by that is it doesn't actually speak to you, because that'd be awesome. There's no PDF that'll read it to you. So Wizard of the Coast, that should also be on your QR code for the end, by the way. But this is just a monotone kind of voice as you're reading it, and no, that's not my fault because I'm monotone. And then you got the character sheets. These things are super, super basic. They're gonna be what you recognize every single time you've ever seen a character sheet, and you'll know your way around it lickety-split. There's a lot of cool things about how to progress your character, or how this specific character progresses. There's a couple of pictures off on the back, and it even gives you goals and flaws that this specific character that you're playing would follow, and how you could help to narrate that as well. They did a little bit better on their product page. This thing tells you where you can find them in every location on the interwebs. But there is also a QR code. But unfortunately, that QR code only takes you to D&D Beyond, and it's not for something that you can download externally. But if you were going to download something externally, what would that be, Alex? Well, that might be a map or 2 or 3 or 5 that would actually go with this setting. Maybe it could be a skin of a blue dragon for your dice, or for your character background on D&D Beyond. All of these things would be incredibly easy to implement and cost little to nothing. Now, it may sound like I was trying to tear into that, but I'm actually not. I think this is a really good starter set, and the character sheets are better than the starter set I'm about to review. I'll just give you a little spoiler there. But it could be a little bit better all the way around, because they are asking $20-25 for something like this. I'm going to go over just a couple of things that I have noted about the specific DOSI starter set, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. On the cover, it features classic cartoon characters from the 80s or 90s Dungeons & Dragons television show, which is really cool, but kind of a missed opportunity. Why wouldn't the character sheets correlate to that as well? It may not be something that every single person of a starter set would recognize, but somebody who's been playing the game for quite some time would be like, hey, I know that guy. There's a couple of typos that need fixing, like the Halfling Rogue's investigation should be +3, and it's totally for 3 to 6 players, not 2 to 6 like initially advertised, because how are you going to have the Dungeon Master and 1 player play 4 other characters? Not to mention that it doesn't have the sidekick rules like it does in the Essentials kit. So how would you even know how to play more than 1 character? It doesn't tell you. Something that was really weird with this specific release is it was a Target exclusive, and of course they dropped the ball, because why wouldn't they? It's so strange that this wouldn't just be released everywhere all at the same time. This will take you from level 1 to 3 And unfortunately, we don't have a follow-up adventure for this yet. But we are getting a follow-up adventure for Lost Mines of Phandelver coming very soon. So that doesn't mean this will be left in the dark forever. If you were gonna have a starter set that only has one set of dice, which is lame, but if you were gonna do that, each one of the dice should be a different color, so that way it's actually teaching you, oh, this D6 is red, this D20 is orange, stuff like that. And you have the whole color spectrum of Roy G. Biv for the 1 through 7 dice that should be included. It is a little bit weird that there's no personalities, flaws, or character traits on this specific character sheet, kind of like they did in the Rick and Morty starter set. And that should be carried over in my opinion. Something I kind of wish they would do for any starter set or anything that has a box like this is, first and foremost, stop putting in this random piece of cardboard in the box to make it seem like there's more. That's some... I'm not even gonna lie. But if you did decide to do something stupid like that, why don't you make it like this box right here? It has terrain literally all over it. It'll be a differentiation of terrain levels, and you can actually use and keep the box instead of it being a kind of not cool decoration. It almost fits in with your books, but not really. So yeah, stop doing that. And while we're doing the head-to-head, the Lost Mines of Phandelver, spoiler alert, has a better story. That's the only difference. Literally, you could say, maybe the character sheets are a little bit better, but like, does that affect you very much? You could just think to yourself, okay, his flaw is this, his personality trait is this, and that does kind of make it just a little bit more customizable for you. So I'd say that the Lost Mine of Phandelver is more customizable than the DOSI, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle set is. It does actually have exactly the same thing in it. Same dice, same character sheets, a rulebook, and a story. It's missing the sidekick rules, of course, which is an oversight for any starter set. And here's maybe an idea or two of how you could add a little more value to some of these things. Because if we're being honest, the rules are free online, and all you've really sold me is a character sheet, which is a piece of paper that I could have filled out anyway, and the story. So a story and the characters that go with it does not make 25 bucks. But you know what would? Is the miniatures that could come with it. There's actually a miniature set that correlates with all of the characters in Lost Mine of Phandelver, and that's amazing, which should absolutely be added into the Lost Mines of Phandelver set. So believe it or not, y'all, I am gonna say I would recommend the Lost Mines of Phandelver. It's the one that's getting expanded on, and obviously it's the community favorite. Some things that you could add to this to make it an actual starter set might actually be a map or these little miniatures to make everybody feel like they're part of the adventure. I will raise one question though. Is this enough for you guys to sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons without buying anything else? No, it's not. Unless you and everyone else is somehow super comfortable with Theater of the Mind play, which is not common, I'll mind you, but that's just how it shakes out. This is a starter set, and it's the start of you buying a few more things. But again, everybody, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. If you did like the video, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, and you know we're gonna do another real soon. So let's open up that box of miniatures and see what we get today. Well, I'll be honest with you guys, I got a super weird set this time. We've got something called the Failing Apprentice. A weird little rabbit unicorn thing called Alamaru. And then we got ourselves a mechanical entity, a Tri-Drone. So that's very strange, very, very, very strange. And then for our big one, which is kind of a cheat in my opinion, because this isn't really a big one, we've got our Yuan Ti Anathema. Never heard of that before. But we got it in the collection, everybody. If you like that, go ahead and like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you later.